Hey everyone, this is Riddle Hacker AJ Raven. I'm here with my recap and review of Claw season number 4, episode number 4, which is titled Loyalty. And again, this was another enjoyable episode that ended up giving our characters something quite serious to address, especially Jen and Bryce, when it comes to how they're going to continue working for Uncle Daddy and Desna while being good parents. So the episode opens up with Desna. She is hooking up with Tony, and this was a very nice comedic little scene where Desna was like, you know what, Tony? I have all of this money laid out on the bed, and I need you to make me enjoy myself, strip for me, and all of that stuff. And we do get a sequence where Tony strips for Desna. Then Desna comes down and she sees Dean all ready up. He is wearing this very smart outfit, a coat and everything. Yeah, he's ready to go out. And Desna's like, okay, so who's that lucky woman that you're going to go meet? And he tells Desna about Eve. However, he also tells Desna that Eve is older than him. She's in her 60s, and Desna's like, okay, Dean, do what you want to do, but where did you meet Eve? And this is where Dean is like, well, I met Dean during one of Anne's classes. And Desna's like, okay, so you have been accompanying Anne to the classes? Dean, how could you do that? Because I have been, yeah, I had been waiting for Desna to learn about Anne and Dean, and I was looking forward to her reaction. But I think she handled it quite well, especially because Dean reminded Desna about the agreement that they had about how they are going to have a more mature relationship as siblings. So Desna can't dictate who he can meet and who he can't. And Desna said, okay, Dean, okay, I understand that. Go. So we cut to the salon, and Georgia is there, and she is carrying a box. And yeah, considering what happens in this episode, I think the writers wanted us to think that Georgia is a suspect regarding what happens later on in the episode. But as I was watching episode number 4, I was like, maybe it's not really Georgia because that would be too obvious, and it turns out that it wasn't. So Desna ended up calling all of her recruits for the company clause up to the salon, and yeah, she is ready to award Bambi because Bambi has been doing a lot. She ended up encouraging 7 more people to join the company, and yeah, she is bringing in the money, and she has been awarded as the employee of the month, and she is very appreciative of the opportunity that Desna gave her, because her and her husband, they have an auto shop, and they have been experiencing some money troubles, and being able to make extra money to clause up, that's been helping Bambi. So we got to Uncle Daddy and Anne, and she is telling her team about the territories they will be hitting. And Bryce comes in, and Bryce is like, okay, so you all started without me. And Uncle Daddy is like, well, if you had come here earlier, you could have been a part of it. But Bryce is really trying to make a place for himself in Uncle Daddy's business, but it's not happening. It's not happening. So we get a scene where we are introduced to the character Cherry, and this is where Cherry flirts with, I think her name is Cherry, right? So Cherry flirts with Quiet Anne, and Quiet Anne appreciates being flirted with, but she is clearly not ready. However, Uncle Daddy is like, Quiet Anne, I understand what you're going through. When I lost my wife and my boyfriend, I was very unhappy as well. I'm still unhappy, but I think that the people who love us, they wouldn't like us being alone for a very long time. And I think that Arlene would like you to find someone, and it doesn't have to be for long. It could just be you hooking up with someone for one night, just to not be lonely. So go for Anne, even if you're pregnant. Go for Cherry, even if you're pregnant. And Anne is like, okay, I guess I will. So we cut to Ken and Celine. So Ken ends up going to the little cafe, the outlet that Celine works in, and he tries to talk to her, but Celine is like making. She has the juicer switched on, and she couldn't really hear what Ken was saying. And at first, I was like, wait, is Celine going to pretend that she doesn't know Ken when other people are around? But no, it's just that she couldn't hear him over the voice of the juicer. But Celine is like, okay, Ken, why are you here? And Ken is like, well, I want to ask you out on a date. Would you go mini golfing with me? And Selena's like, yeah, I would love that. So Desna and her girls are out to party and have fun, and they are having fun. However, I guess Polly drank too much tequila, and she ends up throwing up in the bathroom, and the other women are there to support her. And while they're waiting, this is where Desna notices a woman come in, and she takes out a nail polish, and it resembles the nail polish that Desna makes. And Desna's like, okay, so it turns out that it is our product. It's just been rebranded and being sold by other people. So we need to figure out what's happening here. So Desna asks the woman who had the nail polish to tell her where she got it. And it turns out that it's the bartender who gave it to her. And Desna and Jen are like, yep, let's go talk to the bartender. While that's happening, Uncle Daddy is at a warehouse and we get to see this fighter, a very muscular fighter. I think his name is Rolf or something. So Uncle Daddy is clearly attracted to Rolf, and the two hit it off. And I think Uncle Daddy is going to hook up with him or something. But yeah, something does happen, which involves Bryce again. So Ken and Celine are trying to play mini golf. Both of them aren't good at it. Yeah, they are not good at it. And I think that this young kid, he is waiting for them to finish, but they are stuck at this one particular hole, and the kid is annoyed by them. However, Ken and Celine are annoyed by the kid as well, and they like curse him off, and they're like, just go away, leave us alone. So it turns out that Rolf has to go because apparently his opponent won't be coming for the match tonight. And if the opponent isn't coming there, then Rolf can't be there. And he's like, and Uncle Daddy wants Rolf to be here in the warehouse. And he's like, but we don't have an opponent. And Bryce walks in, and Uncle Daddy's like, you know what, Rolf? Bryce is going to be your opponent. And Bryce is like, what the heck? And Uncle Daddy is like, yeah, Rolf will go easy on you, you're his opponent. And because Bryce is very, very interested in impressing Uncle Daddy, he's like, okay, okay, I'll do it. So Axel has invited Polly. He's like, you know what? I want to meet you. You want me to come over? Let's meet. And he's also bringing his friend. And Polly is like, you know what? Axel is bringing his friend. And Virginia was like, it could be a threesome invitation. You better be ready. And I can help you with that. I'll help you deal with elderly men without them necessarily being very intimate with you. And yeah, Axel is ready, and Virginia and Polly are like, you know what, Jen and Desna, you handle the drug situation. We need to bounce. So it turns out that the bartender got the drugs from someone called Anne, and yeah, Jen and Desna are like, Anne, quiet Anne, it's our Anne, right? And I was a bit iffy about it. I was like, I don't think that it's actually Anne who's selling the drugs. But yeah, Desna's like, you know what, Jen, you need to call Anne right now. And Jen tries to call Anne. However, she's not picking up. And yeah, Desna is like, well, we need to find her. We need to go after her. Let's go. So Axel decides to come over to Polly's house, and it turns out that the friend that he was talking about is actually an old woman called Joyce. And Polly is like, "Why did you bring Joyce here, Axel?" Well, it turns out that one of the things that Joyce had on her bucket list involved learning the hustle. And because Polly mentioned that she is a trained dancer, Axel was like, that's why I decided to bring Joyce over here so that you can help her learn the hustle. It's a mess. It's mess. It's a mess. Polly is a mess. So Desna is like, you know what? To get a hold of Anne, we need to talk to Dean, and Dean is he's attending his class with Eve, and it was nice to see Linda Hamilton again. So yeah, this is where Desna is like, Dean, I need to talk to you. I need you to tell me where Anne is. And Dean is like, well, she said that she couldn't make it to class because she had work to do. She's at her workplace, and Desna is like, Anne doesn't have a workplace, but it turns out that the workplace that she's talking about is actually the warehouse. And Jen is like, yep, the warehouse where Uncle Daddy spends his entire day. So let's go there. So Uncle Daddy pushes Anne a bit. He nudges Anne towards Jerry. He's like, you know what? Go flirt with Jerry, have some fun. And Anne is like, hey Jerry, do you like pool? Let's go play some pool. So Jen and Desna enter the warehouse, and Desna is like, you know what, I'm going to go find Anne. And this is where Jen meets up with Bryce, and she's like, okay, so why are you not wearing all of your clothes? And this is where Bryce tells Jen what Uncle Daddy put him up to. He's like, I have to fight this muscular fighter, Jen. And Jen is like, what the heck? So as things are getting hot and heavy between Anne and Jerry, Desna walks in and Desna's like, "Hey, Anne, traitor, I want to talk to you." So while that's happening, an intruder breaks into the salon. Georgia is already there doing something in secret, and she notices the intruder. The alarm goes off, and she ends up calling Desna and the rest of the group. And yeah, Anne and Desna have a actual confrontation because Desna is like, you know what, Anne, I know that you're a traitor. I know that you ended up stealing my pills, and now you're selling it to other people by rebranding my pills. And if you think that I won't hit you because you're pregnant, well, think again because I will hit you. And Anne is like, Desna, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't steal none of your pills. I'm not selling them. And these two come very close, face to face, and Jen has to step in because Jen is like, hey, 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 cool down, cool down. So, Anne, let me know, did you steal the pills? And Anne is like, no, I didn't. And before Desna can say anything, she gets a call about the intruder in the salon, and she's like, Jen, stay here, keep an eye on Quiet Anne. I need to go to the salon. And after Desna's gone, Quiet Anne is like, okay, Jen, do you think that I stole the pills? And Jen is like, well, you did steal that money at the convention, so don't act all innocent. And Anne doesn't appreciate that at all. Anne is like, yep, I guess now I know where we both stand. And she walks off. Then we cut to Axel, Joyce, Virginia, and Polly just having fun, doing the hustle. And this is where it's too much for Joyce, and she ends up collapsing on the ground. And Polly is like, what the heck am I supposed to do now? So it turns out that Selena was able to make one hole, and she's very happy about it. And she and Ken hug and they kiss, and I was like, oh, this is sweet. And as they're kissing, popcorn falls on their heads. I was like, wait, where the heck did the popcorn come from? But yeah, it turns out that it was a young kid who was annoyed by these two, and he ended up throwing his popcorn. And I was like, well, that's a waste of popcorn, but okay. So everyone is trying to figure out what to do with Joyce because she is in pain, and Virginia's like, "Should we call 911?" And Joyce is like, "No, no, no, 911. I'm tired of all the hospital trips and all of that stuff. Just let me be, please." But before Virginia can say anything, she gets a call from Desna, and she's like, "Yep, the salon has been broken in. I need to go." So that leaves Joyce, Axel, and Polly. And this is where Joyce is like, I need my pain to stop. I need all of this to stop. And Polly is like, well, I can help you with that. And she brings out the pills, the vengeance pills. And Joyce sees them. And Joyce is like, oh, Polly, can you give me enough pills in order for me to end everything, end my life? And Polly is like, what? But yeah, she's like, I just want to end the pain. Please just do this for me. It's a favor. And she even tells Axel that she needs to help him do this. Basically, a mercy killing in a sense. And I also have to mention that Polly reminds Joyce of her daughter, which kind of comes into play in a bit. So Bryce isn't doing well against Rolf. He's being beat up, and yeah, the the bell rings and they get a break. And this is where Jen is like, Bryce, why are you doing this? And Bryce is like, well, I need to impress Uncle Daddy. I need him to know that I'm with him. I need him to be proud of me. And Jen is like, you know what? Uncle Daddy will never appreciate what you do, appreciate everything that you do for him, Bryce. Now, when you get up for the next round, I need you to pretend that you're actually fighting Uncle Daddy, and I need you to take out all of your frustration on your opponent, Bryce. Can you do that? Can you do that? And Bryce is like, yeah, I can do that. And he ends up doing that. So Virginia comes to the salon. She sees Georgia, and it turns out that Georgia was able to apprehend the intruder, and she has him all tied up. And Virginia is like, "Well, girl, I'm impressed, but why? What were you doing here this late at night?" And Georgia, it turns out that Georgia has been coming back to the salon to practice on a fake foot. In order to practice her pedicure skills, and Virginia is quite impressed by it because Georgia is putting in the work. So Desna comes in and she's like, intruder, who put you up to this? Why are you even here? What are you doing?" And it turns out that he was hired for the job by someone running an automobile shop, and not an automobile shop, basically an auto shop. Yeah, a mechanic shop, a mechanic store. A mechanic outlet. I don't know what to call it. A mechanic something. But yeah, Desna's like, uh-oh. So it turns out that it was Bambi who did all of this. And she's like, that traitor, we need to go talk to her. And you know what? I kind of suspected Bambi after Desna had a confrontation with Anne, because I was like, you know what? It's not Anne. It's not Georgia. It has to be one of the employees. Now, I didn't know that. I didn't know for sure that it was Bambi, but I just knew that it had to be one of the employees. But anyway, the entire mystery thing very well handled by the writers. So Bryce is able to take out his frustration on Rolf because he's imagining that he's fighting Uncle Daddy, and it works. It really works. And Rolf taps out, and Bryce wins. So as they're celebrating, Jen is very impressed by how Bryce ended up winning and all of that stuff. And Uncle Daddy is impressed. Quite Anne is impressed. And this is where Uncle Daddy is like, you know what, Jen, this is our family, you, me, Bryce. I need you to come back. I need you to come back and work for us. Stand with your family. And Jen is like, Uncle Daddy, don't ruin the moment. Don't ruin the moment. So she gets a call from Desna, and she's like, Bryce, I'll heal you up in a bit, but I need to go. So it's time for Joyce to say goodbye. She has taken the pills and she is slowly drifting away. And this is where she thinks that she's talking to her daughter instead of Polly. And Polly helps her cross over to the light, to the other realm. And Axel is kind of, I guess he is impressed by Polly. Maybe he thinks that she'll end up doing this for him as well when the time comes. So as they're going to talk to Bambi, Jen is talking to the babysitter, and the babysitter has to go because she, I think, has to take care of her mother who fell or something. And she's like, you know what? Don't worry about it. Call Bryce, tell him that you're leaving, and also tell him that I'll be home in like 10 minutes. So it's all good. Desna ends up talking to Bambi, and yeah, this is where Bambi comes clean. She's like, "Yep, we were low on money, and I ended up selling your pills with a higher markup to other people by rebranding it. I'm sorry, I just needed the money, and I'll give everything back to you. You're the one who told us to hustle, and that's what I did. I hustled." And Desna's like, not again. I won't allow anyone to steal from me ever again. And she punches Bambi right in the face. So Ken and Selena are have been bonding, and yeah, this is where their date ends in a sense because Ken is like, "Well, do you want me to come over, or do you want me to come over to my place?" And Selena's like, "Well, I didn't know that this was going to happen here." And Kenneth's like, "No, no, no, wait. If you want to take it slow, we can take it slow. I like you, so I can do that." And Selena's like, no, it's not that. And this is where Selena tells Ken that she's actually trans. And that's something that she wanted Ken to know before they got more serious. And Ken is like, well, I don't care, you know? I don't care. And Selena's like, well, you have to care. I would like you to care. And Ken is like, no, 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 I didn't mean it that way. I do care. I want to learn more about you. I want to get to know you more. It's just that it doesn't matter to me whether or not you are trans, and I just like you and all of that stuff. I really like their interaction because whenever a person comes out, especially regarding their sexuality or their identity, the other person is always like, well, I don't care. Now, I get that the other person is coming from a good place and they are basically trying to show their support. But the word, basically, the entire statement about I don't care, it kind of feels very, how should I put this? It feels like you're brushing off a huge part of the other person who has found the courage, who has found you to be trustworthy enough for them to share an important piece of information about their personal life with you. It feels like you're just brushing it off, like, oh, I don't care if you're queer, I don't care if you're part of the LGBT plus community and all of that stuff. Because I really like the fact that Celine was like, no, Ken, I would like you to care about this because this is a big part of my life. So yeah, I understand other people coming from a good place when they say that, well, I don't care. But the way that it comes across, it's to certain people. Of course, there are going to be people who are okay with other people saying I don't care, but for certain people, I think it's important to understand that not everyone is going to react the same way to such a statement. So yeah, I am interested in seeing how the relationship between these two progresses. So yeah, Desna is very, very angry at Bambi, and she's like, "Well, Bambi, I can't show you mercy because if I show you mercy, the other employees are going to step out of line." And yeah, I think Desna is ready to take away some of her nails. And yeah, Jen tries to calm Desna down. She's like, you know what, Desna, only take one nail. We aren't. we aren't really gangster, we aren't ruthless. And as these two are talking, Bambi runs away, Desna gives chase, and yeah, Bambi slaps Desna, Desna pushes her, hits her with a wrench, Bambi falls into a car, and she is dead. Wow. So everyone is back at Desna's house, and yeah, Jen doesn't like the version of Desna that she's seeing. And Desna, I was actually surprised by the fact that Desna feels no guilt, but maybe she does, but she isn't showing it because Desna is like, you know what, Bambi stole from us. She did this to herself. I don't really feel guilty about her dying, and it was basically an accident if you think about it. And as everyone is talking, Polly comes in, and Polly is like, oh, Desna, I'm here for you, I'll support you. And this is where even Polly is a bit surprised with Desna's reaction about how she's like, you know what happened happened. Bambi brought it on herself. However, this is where Polly is like, you know what, I had an experience with that myself tonight. And this is where she ends up talking about Joyce and how she helped Joyce go over to the light. And Polly is like, this is my calling, I guess. I'm going to be a death doula for people. And I'm like, oh, Polly, oh, Polly. So we cut to Jerry and Quiet Anne, and Anne realizes that this isn't the time to have a relationship with Jerry, especially because Jerry is an employee and she is working for her. And that breaks Jerry's heart. She is disappointed, but I understood where Anne was coming from. So Desna and Anne, not Anne, Jen. Yeah, Desna and Jen have a conversation where Jen is like, "Well, Desna, we killed the person. I don't like this. I feel that I'm like way that things are like I'm way over my head in this." And Desna's like, you don't get to play the victim right now, Jen. You have been part of a drug dealing family for a very long time, so don't act as if you don't know what all of that entails. We killed the person. Okay, that happened, but we need to stay strong. We need to keep at it." And Jen is like, "I'm just scared, Desna. I'm just scared." And Desna is like, "Well, I'm here. I'll always be here to support you. I'm comforting you and all of that stuff." And as Desna and Jen are bonding, Jen gets a call. So it turns out that when the babysitter left, Jen's daughters ended up deciding to take a trip out of the house, and yeah, they were found by the police, and they are now in custody. I think they're under child protective services right now or something, and Bryce is waiting at the police station as well. They aren't even allowing Bryce to meet the girls, and Jen is there, and yeah, Jen and Bryce are very very worried. They're like, what the heck is going to happen to us now? Because Bryce is like, why weren't you at home? And Jen was like, I thought you were going to come home. And Bryce is like, well, the babysitter told me that you'll be at home in like 10 minutes. And as these two are talking, this is where Desna realizes that no, I think that all of this stuff that we're doing with Claws Up and dealing with drugs, it might be way too much for Jen. And because she loves Jen, I guess Desna is going to make certain decisions. Maybe she's going to take away some responsibilities from Jen so that she can spend more time with her daughters. Who knows? And I really hope that Jen's daughters aren't taken away from her. But yeah, let's see what happens. So yeah, that was episode number 4. If I end up doing a written review just for the Geek Yeti, the link to the review down in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of episode number 4, Claws season number 4. And yeah, until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later. Bye.